This week on World Traveler Cooking, starting into the holiday season, so I figured I would start with some of the major Lithuanian holiday foods for Christmas, so people have some sort of advance notice on how this cuisine works if they want to make any of these recipes. So, the thing you have to understand is in much of Eastern Europe, at least Catholic Eastern Europe, Christmas is a fasting day. What that means is that there are very strict rules about what you can and can't eat on Christmas. Now, from the fasting traditions of the Catholic Church, then these restrictions end up becoming, how shall I put it, supports for creativity. So just because you can't eat some things doesn't mean you can't eat delicious food. You'll see a lot of, if you have Catholic friends who are into fasting during Lent, for example, you can watch how they trade Lent recipes, for example. So Christmas is a strict fast, which means no meat or dairy, but you can eat fish. No eggs. So, this means you can have fish. The fish can be cooked in oil. You can have bread. You can have vegetables. But there are a lot of things you can't eat. So, you can't have mayonnaise with eggs in it, for example. You can't have sour cream on your pancakes. You can't cook chicken or meat or red meat or beef, pork, that sort of thing. So, what this means is that sort of during the Christmas fast, which is also a Christmas feast, by the way, as hard as that is to kind of wrap your head around, herring in Lithuania plays a very important role. So most of the herring that you'll find is going to be similar to this herring here. It is packaged in oil with salt. Okay? Some recipes will also do some stuff with some pickled herring, like Matthias kind of herring. You'll see some other things as well, but herring is itself the centerpiece of sort of the feasting of December for this reason. So, what are we going to do today? We're going to do herring pancakes. Savory dish for Christmas. And although I don't have any vegan mayonnaise today, this would normally be served with vegan mayonnaise to avoid the eggs. So I will serve it today with normal mayonnaise, but keep in mind it should be vegan. Now, our ingredients are fairly simple. We have 250 grams of flour. We'll use a teaspoon, about a third of one of these packages of baking powder. We will add a small amount of salt. If it needs it, we will add a small amount of sugar, just a little bit. We will use these herring. You can use a spoonful of vegetable oil, but I think I'm going to go the extreme route and just take a spoonful of the oil in the herring package. So, and then we have 400 milliliters of water. Now, regarding that, you can use like a almond milk or a nut milk if you prefer, but you can't use the dairy. So, no dairy, no cow milk, no goat milk, nothing like that. But you could use a nut milk, you could use like poppy seed milk, would probably be pretty okay, and is also a traditional Christmas dish. I have a discussion on how to make that. Yeah, but that's that. So, let's get started. So, while I'm waiting for the pan to get hot, I am going to take my flour, a little bit of sugar, and about 1/3 of this packet of baking powder. And I think I'm going to add a little salt. And we're going to whisk this together. And then we're going to go ahead and stir in with the fork. Would not use a whisk for this because it'll get all globbed into the whisk. We're going to stir in our water. Most people say the consistency should be like sour cream. We'll see what that means. Yep, here we have our pancake batter. Very simple batter. But next what we're going to do is we're going to brown the onions, we're going to chop up the herring, and we'll stir it all together. Right, and one more thing is I'll stir in about a tablespoon of oil. I'm just going to take it out of the herring because why not? Now, one thing to note is that the herring I can get in Germany is already kind of fried. We should ideally have like a not fried herring, but it'll be fine because we're going to cook it in these pancakes anyway. So now we have this onion on here. As with any metal pan, the way you do it is you heat up the pan first. Once the pan is hot, you add your oil and then anything you want to cook in it. This will keep everything from sticking, and it will eventually season the pan very nicely. So, I'll be back once this is all brown. In the meantime, since this fish is all largely cooked already and crumbles, I'm just going to crumble it into my batter. Once the onion is browned, we will also just scoop it on here. Then we will stir this up. Once this is done, we're going to go ahead and start frying these. So again, hot pan, bit of cold oil. Which we spread around. And then we'll just make some pancakes. And we're just going to let these cook, and I'll be back when they're ready to flip over, or after they flipped over. So, we just flip these over like we would any other pancakes. Cook them through, and then again we'll serve these with mayonnaise. If you're doing it on a non-fasting day, of course, sour cream would be a possibility, but very oftentimes we see fish in Catholic countries used disproportionately on fasting days. So I think it's not a bad idea to figure out how to make that work. So to plate, I'm just going to take these, stack them up. And I'll be back to do the presentation. With pancakes, we always need to take care of our pan before we take care of the next set of, or the stuff that we've just taken off the pan. Because otherwise heat management becomes a problem. So, we're just going to add next pancakes on, and we'll do this because otherwise the pan just gets too hot. Alright. So you want to take a bit of mayonnaise, ideally vegan mayonnaise, just put a bit of it on the top. And then garnish with something green. Dill would work, but I don't have any dill at the moment, so I'm just going to put celery leaf on there. Some people say don't use celery leaves, they're not traditional, but I see a lot of Lithuanian cooking sites using celery leaves for garnishing, so I will do that. This is our stack of herring pancakes. Next up, the taste test. And now for the taste test. I'm going to start with just a piece here that's not with mayonnaise. This is very nice. It's very fishy, very savory, nicely rounded. Now I'm going to try some with the mayonnaise. And here we go. That is freaking awesome. I honestly don't know what I can say about this except that it is amazing. So you gotta try it. It's tangy, fishy, well-rounded seafood. It's just amazing. So, at any rate, if you find this content interesting, I hope I've earned a like and a subscription from you, and please click the notification bell to make sure you get all new videos that I have coming out. Additionally, please feel free to comment in the comments below. Let me know how you would make this dish differently, how if you are familiar with it, how you make it differently. That sort of conversation is wonderful in terms of people coming over to figure out how to make this dish. At any rate, recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.